A new book by Washington Post reporter Carol Leonnig says that Donald Trump was furious that some of the Secret Service agents assigned to protect him didn't quite live up to his ideal of physical fitness. And at one point, he erupted and said, quote, "Get these fat guys off my detail." Yes, Donald Trump thought some Secret Service agents were just too fat to be able to properly protect him. Secret Service agents that, by the way, have to go through a very rigorous training process. They have to complete all sorts of tasks and go through all of this specialized training. None of them, by the way, are fat. Like, that's the job where you kind of have to stay at least in moderate shape in order to be able to do what needs to be done. But in Donald Trump's weird little brain, some of them were just a little too pudgy, right? Maybe a little too chubby. And he wanted them off his detail because he didn't think that these heavy-set fellas would be able to properly protect him or his family. It's ridiculous, but to be honest, this is a very believable story because we know from the past experience what Donald Trump thinks of idyllic beauty. And that's all he wants to surround himself with. You have to be a perfect individual. He wanted certain members of his cabinet, certain members of his administration to go on TV, others to not go on TV because he didn't like the way they looked on TV, didn't like the way they dressed on TV, or he did like the way they looked on TV, the way they presented themselves, the way they carried themselves. And if you didn't meet up those standards, he didn't care about you. So yes, I do believe this story is 100% accurate. The irony here, of course, is that Donald Trump is, well, Donald Trump. We all know what he looks like. So for him to judge others based on the way that they look, I mean, it's a little obscene, right? Not to mention the fact that really nobody should do that, okay? I can make fun of Donald Trump because he's fat because I'm fat too and I know it. And I'm not trying to hide it. Unlike Trump himself, who refuses to admit that he's bald, refuses to admit that his natural skin color is not orange. You know, he tries to hide all of these things that he finds to be imperfect about himself because his ego forces him to do that. His narcissism forces him to do that. And over the years, it has gotten to the point where it's not just him, but he projects this onto others as well. It is exceptionally mentally unhealthy for both Trump and all of the individuals who surround him, and it's not fair. But Trump's not going to change who he is. He is going to continue to expect everyone around him to be perfectly beautiful to his standards while not holding himself to those same standards.